Hello, my friends, and welcome to Studio Day Heffrey. That's me. I am Jeff Cavanaugh, just hanging out with you guys on a Wednesday. Tomorrow's a Broadus Thursday, so I'll be with Brian Broadus. We record at 9 o'clock. It gets uploaded about 9:30, 9:45. You can hear it either on YouTube. Well, you could see it on YouTube, I guess, and hear it, or you could hear it by going to other platforms. I'll also most likely have announcements about some other things upcoming somewhere in the next couple of weeks. But anyway, I just want to do some of the Cowboys news of the day because I had a little time before lunch and after therapy. And there's two things that I think are at least worth discussing in Cowboy world right now. And one of them is Stephon Gilmore, who is just still out there. Our guy's still out there. Hello to everyone that's filtering in. It's good to have you. Stephon Gilmore is still out there, and they should do it. The Cowboys should do it. Depending a little bit. But Stephon Gilmore talked to Josina Anderson and said, I'm still being patient and staying ready till teams see what they have in training camp. But you mean to tell me among 32 teams, there are 64 starting corners that are better than me? I don't think that. If teams want to win, I think they should sign the best players. I know I'm still a starter in the league. I started games last year, but the season doesn't start until September, so we've got a while. So what do we think about Stephon Gilmore? Because I'll tell you what I think about Stephon Gilmore. I think that if somebody signs him to be one of their top two corners, that's awesome for him. And you could probably let that dream go as a Cowboy fan. But as a guy that is still available on July 17th, if we reach the point where Stephon Gilmore is a 1 year, $3 or $4 million player, the Cowboys have to do it. Doesn't mean they will, but they have to do it because of a couple of things. One, Trayvon Diggs. In the Cowboys' history of guys coming off ACL, and they just assume it's going to be fine, and maybe it's not right away. Having Stephon Gilmore around show would help. And also, what if he is still one of your two or three best corners? Do the Cowboys feel like, oh my God, we just absolutely cannot, no matter what, challenge for playing time from Jordan Lewis? We absolutely can't play Deron Bland in the slot. They shouldn't feel that way. You shouldn't think that. So I think it would make sense. I think it would make sense to bring Stephon Gilmore back. I think Trayvon Diggs' situation makes it make even more sense. I like Kalen Carson, their day 3 draft pick, and I think that he can be a top 4 corner as a rookie. And I think long-term that he could be an NFL starter. I think all of those things are true. But for a fake all-in, we're actually trying to win something team this year, Stephon Gilmore on a reasonable 1-year deal makes all the sense in the world, because why in the world wouldn't you want depth at a position where if one guy goes down, the world ends for a lot of teams? Justin's in the super chat. What up, Jeff? Who needs good backup corners? We've got scientific research into hot dog technology. Here you go.
Now this is a hot dog bun. I think it's a hot dog too.
Kevin Gray's in the chat because he's a good friend. Follow at Kevin Gray Sports. He's a beast. Yeah, bring me Stephon Gilmore. Makes all the sense in the world. All the sense in the world. If it means that you can buy time for trip, here's the one holdup. The one holdup is Stephon Gilmore is also a Hall of Famer, right? If he's a Hall of Famer and he thinks he's still one of the 64 best in the league, and you brought him in and Diggs is ready to rock, Bland ain't coming off the field. And if they don't want to move Bland, Stephon Gilmore is a 4th corner. Can his ego take that? If they don't care, or if they're willing to play Deron Bland in the slot and put Gilmore on the field, then it's wonderful. But if they want to keep Deron Bland outside and they want to, obviously they're going to keep Trayvon Diggs outside. If that's what they want to do, then going to Gilmore and being like, yeah, we'd love to have you back. And what you are for us is an insurance policy. Don't know. Don't know if he's down for that. He might be like, no, I'm worth more money than that, and I'm better than that. I'm not here to be an insurance policy for you. But if he don't have better options than that, maybe he could jump in the slot. Put Stephon Gilmore back on the team. Just do it. Just do it. Assuming he's okay with that. Coming in and like, we're not sure yet. We don't know if he'll start. but we want you here. Put him on the team. Second thing in the Cowboys news of the day is technically a week old, but I just noticed it because I've been, doing stuff, overthinking things and being in dark places. That's what I've been up to. But therapy was today. We're good. Is the Cowboys weaponry? Okay, I got to go backwards because Stuart asked a great question. At this point, isn't Gilmore a progress stopper? That's the thing you would have to work out with Stephon Gilmore is we love Bland and we think he's an outside corner, so he's going to stay there. We obviously love Diggs. He makes a bunch of money. He's an outside corner. He's going to stay there. So now our conversation is, are you willing to go compete against Jordan Lewis and be a slot corner? Are you willing to be here just to be the dad in the room? And then if something goes wrong or if Diggs has some hiccups in recovery, you play then. Are you willing to accept that role? Because if you are, come on with it. And if you're not, then we would have a problem. Just sent you something for lunch. Thank you, Daniel. What a hero. Let me see. Oh, you sure did. What a hero. I love you guys. So here's the other thing. Bill Barnwell is one of my guys. I like him. I had to re-up. Something happened to my ESPN Plus. I had to re-up to read the damn thing. But Bill Barnwell is one of my guys. I like him because the first thing that I knew about Bill Barnwell is he could simplify nerd stuff, and simplifying nerd stuff is important in football. He was the first guy that I noticed that would help you predict teams that are going to suck in the playoffs, even if they had a good record. Like literally just point differential is more predictive than record at how good your team is. And so every year I can tell you which teams are fake good teams and which teams are real good teams. I told people last year when it looked like the Bills were going to miss the playoffs. No, they're not. They're better than their record says they are. They've lost close games and they've blown people out. That's a good team. They've just gotten unlucky on the coin flips. Teams that get lucky on the coin flips, not actually good teams. Now you know. That's how you know the Steelers were fake last year. Whatever. Talking about the weapons that every team has, the tab is hidden behind my camera somewhere. And he has the Dallas Cowboys as the 18th best weapons in the NFL. And there's so much going on with this team that's going to tell you when they win 11 or 12 games, I won't know how the Dak haters still can talk. Because this year they're going to go with a first-year center, a first-year left tackle. They're going to go with, we'll see at linebacker, no real nose tackle, the worst running backs in the league. They're going to go with all of that. And Dak's going to win double-digit games with CD and Micah. He's going to do it. But there'll still be people that are like, Dak sucks. It's going to be like, all right, so he had the 18th best weapons, the 15th best offensive line, and he was a top 7 quarterback. He sucks. Who cares? So they have him as Barnwell has him as the 18th best weapons in the NFL. Last year, he had him at 7, 11 spots down. Why? The answer? Michael Gallup's gone, and Barnwell is not high on Brandon Cooks because he does things by the numbers. And with Brandon Cooks, you go over the last 2 years, and he was north of 2 yards per route run. Every route you run, whether it's thrown to you or not, 2 yards per route run. And each of his first 2 years with the Texans, he dropped to 1.7 in 2022 and 1.3 with Dallas last year. So his projection is that if you think that Brandon Cooks is going to take some stride and be way better as a second-year Dallas Cowboy, he disagrees. And I don't know. I ride the fence on that one. I do think a guy whose primary weapon is his speed, who is now into his 30s, that has at least statistically declined for a couple of years. Betting on that is an iffy bet, but we also saw strides in how they were able to use him and how much he was able to get the ball as the season went along last year. So I do think that in year 2, if you project that he can hold on to his athleticism for another year, that he's going to be more successful. I could totally see it. So what do you think of Brandon Cooks is basically what decides, do the Cowboys have a top 10 group of weaponry-ish, or are they bottom half of the league? And he acknowledges like Jake Ferguson had a great year, and Jake Ferguson is a good player, but it's essentially CeeDee Lamb, one of the 3 to 5 best receivers in the league, maybe the best, whatever. One of the best receivers in the league, and then maybe nothing else in your wide receiver group. And the running back group is bad, and weaponry includes running backs and tight ends. So we got to find something. If the Cowboys want to have a good season, they got to find something. Whether it's Brandon Cook's jump, whether it's Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, Ryan Flournoy, somebody that's a big surprise and is a capable NFL starter. Finding that would be a big surprise to me. If one of their non-Cooks Lamb guys turns out to be a 600-700 yard, 50 catch guy, that would surprise me because I haven't seen the things from them to make me think that that's going to happen. Or you need a second tight end to step up. And I don't know that I can see that happening. So we're kind of banking on Brandon Cooks. Please hang on. Please be able to have a really nice year. Please be Stevens in the chat. I think Cooks will be an average number 2. That would be perfect. If you can be the 30 to 40th best, I know technically you would say an average number 2 would be what, 32 and then have 48th, but whatever. Every team doesn't have a real number 1. If he can be a top 40 receiver in the NFL, then you're probably in good shape. Not going to be able to run the ball. Maybe you will. Maybe your offensive line will let you run the ball. Not necessarily your backs. We got a super chat here. I don't know how to pronounce Citan. Seaton Trops. Jeff, keep an eye out for Nathaniel Pete as sleeper camp player to take number 2 running back spot. He will have Pollard-like plays. I'll put some money on it too if you disagree. I don't want to bet you. I don't have enough money. Actually, I got a bunch. I have tons of money. That'd be fine. Yeah, if Pete shows out or if Deuce shows out, either one of those, if they become a factor in the running back rotation, I like it. Because right now, if you're talking about Rico and Zeke and even talked to Aisha Morrison yesterday, you can go back and check that if you want. It was wonderful. She's great. She's the best. If it's Rico and Zeke or Royce Freeman and that's your backs, oh, you ain't getting no big plays. You ain't getting no big plays. No big plays from a run game that last year averaged what? Your top 2 backs were 4.1 and 4 yards a carry, and you're not getting any big plays. Boy, your wide receiver group or your tight end group better show the hell up because you're going to be asking number 4 to do everything. Doing everything's tough. So sign Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks be a beast. That's all. Tolbert just needs the touches. If you look at the stats, yeah, he's not encouraging, but if you watched last year when they threw to him, the ball was solid. He was solid. So that's another thing that Barnwell brings up because this is another thing. God, I hate talking about Dak too much, but I do think that there's just too many Cowboy fans that don't appreciate how good he is at football. We can acknowledge that in too many playoff games, you've started too slow and the quarterback didn't play well enough, while also acknowledging that he's also one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. The numbers for every Dallas Cowboy receiver when they're targeted. Last year, Brandon Cooks was plus 8.2% catch rate over expectation. So you take your little dots and where people are when a ball is thrown and you go, okay, this is what is expected to be the catch rate. Brandon Cooks was 8.2% higher than league expectation. CeeDee Lamb was 10.3% over expectation. Jalen Tolbert was 7% north of expectation. Do we think that those 3 guys are just 3 of the best receivers in football or that the quarterback is throwing a really good football? You decide. Maybe the quarterback's pretty good, but he needs to be better in the playoffs. Faux show. Or you could get a defense that plays lights out, and then maybe he would have had a Trevor Lawrence playoff win because they started scoring points. Remember when Justin Herbert had a 28-point playoff lead and lost? Yeah. Trevor Lawrence's team was like, okay, well, let's stop them from scoring some. And then when we score, we can catch up. Whereas the Cowboys were like, okay, well, we'll start scoring some. And the defense was like, you keep scoring too. Anyway, I got a lunch date. You guys have a wonderful day. Remember, you have no idea what anyone's going through. So be cool to everyone. And I love you. Be easy. I'll be on Your Dark Companion with Mike Reiner today, which means it probably gets posted tomorrow. Whatever. Love you.